Okay, the 7 chord as a major and a minor. What are we going to do here? Well, we're going to build, our normal 7 chord, as we've seen, is diminished. That's the one built off of the 7 note in a scale. And so in the key of C, you've got a B diminished. Okay. To make it minor, we're going to raise the 5th, which is, this makes a diminished 5th. That interval feels like, I don't know, a question mark, intrigue. It's definitely unresolved. Whereas this, clear, clean, open, even, that's a perfect 5th. It exists in all major and minor chords. So we're going to change this interval here to turn our diminished chord to a minor chord, and then to make it major, we've seen this a bunch, raise the 3rd major. Okay, 7 chord. Now we're gonna first look at it as a major. Now, what have we done in recent videos with newly major chords that have previously been minor? We made them major. What have we done with them? We've treated them as secondary dominants, as the 5 of something else. If you build a major chord off of any note in the scale of a home key, in a major key, you make it major, even if it's not normally major, you can do a 5-1 motion from that. You can treat it as the 5 of whatever would be its 1, and that 1 is going to be some chord in the home key. Okay, so we can do that. We've done it with, we've done it with everything else so far. We've done it with the 1, the 2, the 3, the 4, the 5, the 6, and now with the 7. So if this 7 we think of as a dominant of something else, well, what's it going to be the dominant of? 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Okay, the 3 chord is up here in the key of C, E minor. So that's our destination. Cool, and we could even do it, the 7 as a dominant 7th, right? However, I should point out, because we're messing with the 7 chord, it's more disruptive than messing with the 6 or the 2. Just like in the last video when we messed with the 5 chord and made it minor, the 5 chord and the 7 chord are often put in the same category called dominant chords, which can be kind of confusing because sometimes the word dominant refers specifically to the 5 chord. Regardless, when you think dominant, you think wants to go to the 1, okay? And so in that sense, 5 and the 7 are in the same category. When you mess with either of those, it's more disruptive to the listener's sense of orientation, to their sense of where the 1 is anymore. They're like, what? It calls it into question, okay? So as soon as I mess with the 7 chord, it's like, whoa. And then if you resolve to something, make that a clear, clean, nice 5-1 kind of thing, it feels more definitely like this is where we are now, in the sense this is our home key, our new home. We've modulated. It feels more like that than when we've done other things. Even though this is a chord in our home key of C, it just doesn't feel like you're in C anymore. And so we'll get to solutions to that a little bit later. But first, how to understand this? Well, yeah, it's a 5-1. I want to think about this. Well, if you revisit the video on the 6th chord, or if you just remember it, I talked there about a few important concepts. One of them being the relationship between the 6 and the 1 chord, and that's going to come up in the next video as well. But also the idea of the relative minor key and the relative major key. So, which is the reason why I haven't talked much about minor keys. It's because most things in minor keys could be talked of just using the language of major keys if you think of the relation between the 1 and the 6. So, for instance, the key of C, when we did the major 3 to the 6, well, that 6 was like a 5-1 in the key of A minor, but A minor is basically, it's the 6 in the key of C, and it's the basis for the relative minor key. So you could still think of it as being in the key of C, and therefore it makes sense just to talk about it as a 3 to 6, or a major 3 to 6. Well, similarly, here, that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about this as we're going to talk about this not in the key of E minor, but as being in the key of G, which E minor is the 6 of G. If G is the 1, E minor is the 6. Okay. In the key of G, what is this? This is a 3, a major 3 to 6 in the key of G. Just like in the key of C, that was a major 3 to 6. Okay? So, what are we doing here? We're in the key of C, but we're basically now in the key of G when I hit this and go G/E minor. Really, it's E minor, but again, what we're going to talk about is G. So this is like a 3 to 6. Now, why do I want to talk about the key of G? Partly for this reason. If you go back to C, when we did the 3 to 6 there, remember, well, this is also in the video on the 6th chord. Remember I was doing this? First I did the normal 3, which is minor, to 6. Instead it felt great, felt pretty good. You know, now you could make it an even tighter kind of cadence if you make the 3 major, then it kind of wants to be resolved in a way that it didn't before. But still, this was great and solid. Similarly, we can do the same thing in the key of G/E minor here. So we'll go, instead of just, you know, yeah, we can do 3 major to 6, but we could also do the normal minor 3, which would be what? B minor. Which, in our home key of C, that's 7 as a minor chord. Okay, so the key of C, we'll do 7 minor. Weird, right? But still works to go to the E minor. Cool. Now, because it was disruptive and now it feels like we're in a different key, the key of G/E minor, how do we get back right away to feeling like we're in the key of C? We don't want to just modulate to the key of G in a more permanent way. Okay, so we want to feel like, well, you can basically just keep playing stuff that's in the key of C, and inevitably, if not right away, you'll hit something that belongs to C that doesn't belong to G. Specifically, the difference between those keys, they share a lot of the same notes. The difference, though, is one note, actually, and it's the F in the key. The key of C doesn't have any sharps or flats, so the F is an F natural, but in the key of G, you've got one sharp, and it's an F sharp. So if you're unsure whether you're in the key of C or the key of G, but you play an F, that's going to tell you. So if you play an F sharp, oh, okay, we're in G, not C. Whereas if you hit an F natural, oh, C, we're in C. Okay, that's what we're going to do here, because we don't want to modulate, we don't want to stay in the key of G/E minor. We want to be, as soon as possible, back in C. Okay, so what do we do after this? Even though this belongs to the key of C, it doesn't feel like it, let's hit a 4 chord, which is based on the natural F, right? That's gonna, immediately put us back in C in a way that, again, even though it's felt more like a journey than just a weird chord, F will do the trick for us. So that'll be our chord progression. We'll go 1. We'll try the 7 as a major and a minor, but first, major. So 1, major 7, 3, 4, 1. And when I hit that 4, you'll see how reorienting it is. Nice, right? And then here's the 7 with minor, sorry. Now, F isn't the only thing we could do. You could do D minor. You could also do, what would be really strong, would be, of course, the 5 in the key of C, which would, and play it as a dominant. So play a G7, right? Nice. What else could we do as a strong cadence? Well, we could do 4 minor. We saw that, right? We'll do that. Woo! I like that. It's kind of cool in that case because you're going from an E minor up to the minor chord that's just a half step above it. It's pretty rare, but it's cool. Woo! Nice. I like that. Okay, so those are some things you can do. Now, of course, you can do other things from the 7 made a major or minor. Other things then go to the 3. 3 is just the most natural thing to go to. It's the thing that immediately works. Other things are going to work. You can make them work. Van Morrison, I always noticed this, and I didn't know what was going on until later when I knew more about music theory, but in his song Brand New Day on the classic album Moondance, I think he's in the key of G, and at the beginning of every verse he goes, which is 1, 7 minor, and everything else in the song and pretty much in his body of work is normal and doesn't have weird chords in it. He doesn't usually just add weird chords. So that's what makes me think this was kind of like an accident that he liked well enough to keep. Like he was just like, I mean, he was writing the song, I think, and he wanted to have this kind of familiar descending bass line down to the 6, and we'll see ways of doing that are a little more normal in future videos where we talk about bass lines and inverted chords. That's coming up. But I think he was like, okay, so I want a chord on this one. If we do the minor, maybe, oh, that's kind of weird, but I'll keep it, I guess. Yeah. I think that's what happened. Anyway, it works. Also this. Oof, doesn't that sound like Radiohead? Maybe it's in one of the songs on OK, maybe the last song on OK Computer. I don't know if it's the last one or not. Anyway, but it might not be a 7 actually. It might just be this particular transition, like that kind of the relationship between those two chords. But this one might not be a major 7. I'm not sure. Anyway, sounds kind of like Radiohead. Anyway, there's other things you can find that are going to work, and they're going to feel, yeah, a little bit weird, but you can make them work, and maybe they're just what you want. But the most go-to things, the most natural thing to do is go to the 3 from the 7, whether you introduce it as major or minor. There you go.